Hello and welcome, my dear friend. Take a breath and pause for a moment, because your arrival here is not an accident. Out of all the places you could be right now, out of all the messages you could be hearing, your path has been guided to this exact moment. Something beyond coincidence has arranged it. You were meant to hear these words, not as a random encouragement, not as a passing phrase, but as part of the journey you are already walking. These words are part of the answer you've been searching for. A whisper to your heart in a season where you've needed it most. What you need to know right now, with a certainty that cuts through all doubt, is this: God is in love with you. Not watching from a distance, not simply offering guidance from afar, not tolerating you as if you're just another face in the crowd. In love with you, deeply, personally, unshakably. That is why your path has looked different than others. That is why some doors never opened, why certain people left, why you felt preserved even in the most uncertain of seasons. You've been carried in a way you didn't always understand because heaven treasures you too much to let your story be wasted. And before these words are finished, I want you to feel in your bones just how loved you are. Not tolerated, not pitied, not kept around because of obligation. No, loved, truly and fiercely loved. That truth explains more about your life than you might realize. It explains why plans didn't unfold the way you thought they would. It explains why people you once depended on drifted quietly out of your circle. It explains why your journey has felt like it was cut from a cloth unlike anyone else's. Not because you were forgotten, but because you've been set apart for something greater, and not everyone is meant to carry what heaven guards so carefully. Love leaves fingerprints. When someone loves you, it shows. You can feel it in their presence, in how they look at you, in the way they protect and rearrange their own steps just to keep you safe. That is what's been happening in your life. The moments you walked through fire and came out without being consumed, the times you survived storms that should have left you broken, that wasn't luck. That was love leaving its fingerprints all over your story. The strange timing that protected you even when it made no sense, that too was evidence, heaven's way of making sure you made it here, to this moment, to hear this truth. And maybe there's a part of you that resists it. Maybe you've asked, if God really loves me this much, why do I still feel overlooked? Why is it still so hard? But sometimes we look for love in the wrong places, expecting it to show up through the hands of people it was never meant to flow through. Think about the ways your own body has tried to speak to you. The tension in your shoulders when you walk into certain rooms. The weight in your chest after conversations that leave you second-guessing yourself long after they've ended. The slow silence of people who once promised they would always be there. For so long, you blamed yourself. You thought something must be wrong with you. But it wasn't that. It was love marking you in a way most can't name. There is a weight, a presence, that comes with a life wrapped in God's love, and not everyone can stand that close to it. Here's the hidden truth. Love like this reveals people. It unsettles them. Some don't understand why you're still standing after everything you've been through. Some are quietly envious. Some are baffled that you continue to rise. But none of their confusion, none of their judgment, none of their absence changes the reality. You are loved. You are fiercely, unshakably, divinely loved. That love has been rearranging your life in ways you're only beginning to recognize. So hear me clearly. Nothing about your struggles disqualifies you from this love. Nothing about your mistakes has canceled it. Love doesn't sit down with a checklist of your faults and failures. Love chooses. Love pursues. And again, God has chosen you. That's why your soul refuses to settle in places that treat you like you're ordinary. That's why your spirit feels restless when you try to shrink yourself to fit into spaces that cannot hold your light. Love won't let you starve in shallow waters. Heaven won't let you waste your life in rooms too small for the depth of who you are. Every ending, every pause, every redirection, none of it has been random. It has all been love guiding you, preserving you, carrying you. I know you've longed for arms that hold you, words that affirm you, a presence that reminds you that you matter. We all long for that. So let these words be that reminder. You matter, not just to me speaking them, not just in this moment, but to the one who breathed the galaxies into being, who carved mountains out of the earth, who lit the stars with fire. That same God has been whispering your name with affection since before your first breath. This is not a distant idea or a poetic thought. It is love in action. That is why you survived what should have destroyed you. That is why peace still touches you in moments when everything else feels impossible. That is why, even now as you listen, something in you feels both broken open and healed at the very same time. Please take this to heart. God is in love with you, not in theory, not as a vague concept, but in a way that shapes your days, redirects your steps, closes doors that would have harmed you, and pulls you out of spaces that could never carry your light. Instead of asking why things haven't unfolded the way you imagined, pause and look deeper. Everything you've walked through has been exact. Sometimes an obvious blessing, sometimes a painful lesson, sometimes even a dark valley that revealed the strength you didn't know you had. But none of it was wasted. None of it was outside of love's reach. There comes a point where you can no longer outrun this truth. You've tried to explain away the protection over your life. You've told yourself it was just luck, just chance, just timing, maybe even just stubbornness. But deep down you've always known. It was love. It has always been love. And that is why your story doesn't look like everyone else's. Love edits differently. Love slows you down when rushing would have ruined you. Love removes you from rooms where your voice would have been swallowed. Love allows certain people to drift because if they had stayed, they would have convinced you to settle for half of what you carry. Yes, you've carried the ache of people leaving. You've sat in the silence of doors that refused to open. You've blamed yourself, wondering if you weren't enough. But the truth is far simpler. Some paths had to close because they were too small for what heaven placed inside of you. Think about it. How many times did you believe you were losing everything, only to look back and realize you were being spared? How many tears fell over doors that stayed closed, only for you to later see that walking through them would have broken you? That is what love does. It protects you even from the very things you thought you wanted most. And being loved like this, it changes you. It changes how you walk into the world, how you see yourself, how you hold your own heart. Because once you know that the creator of the universe is in love with you, you stop measuring your worth by who stayed or who left, by which plans succeeded or which ones fell apart. You begin to see that every detour was a doorway, every ending was an act of protection, every silence was filled with whispers of love. Crowds don't feel the same to you anymore, do they? It's not that you dislike people, and it's not even that you've changed into someone who avoids connection. It's that you sense what so many others can't or won't see. You walk into a room and the smiles feel heavy, not because they're wrong or fake, but because you feel the weight behind them. You notice the envy that hides itself in gestures of politeness, the loneliness tucked inside words of cheer, the exhaustion that echoes beneath laughter, and the noise that people use to bury silence. You can't unsee it anymore. You don't just hear what's said, you feel what's carried. And the truth is, it's not that you're against society or against being around people. It's that your spirit longs for air, longs for love, and in places where love is absent, your soul simply cannot breathe. That's because God's love has marked you. God is not just beside you, He is in love with you. That love sharpened your senses, attuned your heart, awakened your awareness, and tuned your spirit to frequencies others miss. You're not weak for noticing the unseen. You're not broken for feeling too much. That sensitivity is not a flaw. It's evidence that His love has opened your eyes to what's real. And once you've tasted what's real, the surface will never satisfy again. Maybe you've wondered why certain friendships keep slipping through your hands. Why circles that once brought you joy now leave you restless. Why gatherings that used to energize you now feel draining. It's not rejection. It's not failure. It's because you don't belong to shallow places anymore. You don't belong to the surface. You belong to the deep. Love refuses to let you drown in shallow waters. That same love that has pulled you apart from the crowds is the very love that will one day set you apart for influence, for purpose, for calling. What feels narrow now will open wide later, because the path that feels small is training you to carry something vast. And when the unveiling comes, as surely as dawn follows night, people will wonder how you managed to endure what you endured. They'll ask how you kept standing when everything around you wanted to break. They'll question how you carried yourself with grace when storms surrounded you. And in that moment, you will know the answer. You'll know it wasn't just you. You'll know you were carried by a love they couldn't see, by arms that never let you fall, by a presence that refused to let you go. This is also why your presence unsettles some people. You may not even say much, but your silence speaks louder than their noise. Your calm feels heavier than their masks. Your existence becomes a mirror, revealing what they've been trying to hide, and not everyone is ready to see themselves that clearly. Some will be drawn to it, some will resist it, but either way, it doesn't change the truth of who you are or the truth of whose you are. And hear this with your whole being. Your mistakes never canceled this love. The nights you doubted never scared it away. The seasons when you drifted never made it disappear. This love doesn't keep score, doesn't wait for you to become flawless before it draws near. Love shows up in your mess. It shows up in your questions, in your half-formed prayers, in the moments you think you've gone too far. Love has been showing up for you all along, and that is why you're still here. That is why the weight of life didn't crush you. That is why, even in the moments you thought it was all over, something inside of you kept whispering hope. That something wasn't just you trying to hold on. It was love itself, refusing to let go of you. So stop asking if you're worthy of it. You are. Stop asking if you've done enough to deserve it. You haven't, and that's the beauty of it. Love isn't earned. Love is chosen. And God chose you. You are the chosen one of His affection. You have been chosen to be carried, chosen to be set apart, chosen to be loved in ways deeper than human love could ever express. When you begin to finally accept this love, truly let it settle inside you, everything changes. You stop forcing yourself into rooms where your soul shrinks just to be included. You stop apologizing for needing stillness when everyone else is addicted to noise. You stop explaining why your circle is small, because you realize intimacy with God has never been about numbers. It has always been about depth. Yes, there will still be days where being set apart aches. There will still be stretches where loneliness stings. But don't confuse that ache with abandonment. Heaven hasn't abandoned you. It's preparing you. Every delay was never punishment. It was timing. Every hidden season was never neglect. It was training. Every lonely stretch was never rejection. It was protection. God has been shaping you for a moment that will matter more than you can imagine. And when that moment finally comes, you won't need to scramble for recognition. You won't need to beg for affirmation. You won't need to explain yourself to anyone. You'll carry something heavier, something stronger, something truer. The steady knowledge that the same God who designed galaxies, who set oceans into motion, who carved mountains and stretched out time itself, has been in love with you from the beginning. And when that truth fully roots itself inside your bones, nothing and no one will ever shake you again. So remember this. When people pull away, it's not always about you. It's about what surrounds you. When rooms feel heavy, it's not because you're weak. It's because your spirit is tuned to what others can't handle. When you feel hidden, it's not abandonment. It's preparation. You are being made ready. And through it all, God's love is the constant, guiding your steps, setting your boundaries, carrying you forward, and holding you steady until the day comes when everyone else finally sees what heaven has known about you all along. So let it rest deep inside of you. You are loved, fiercely, endlessly, without condition, without limit. That truth will never change. And before we close, I want to leave you with a gift. As a musician, I've opened a second channel, Simplified Serenity, where I share soaking worship instrumentals designed for prayer, for stillness, for those moments when your heart needs deep rest. If you found peace in these words today, take that peace into your own quiet time with God. Let the music be the space where His love meets you again and again. The link is in the description, and I would love for you to join me there.